Hey, so today I have something super cool and very rare in the US. This is a original semi-automatic BM62 from Beretta. So these are currently, there's a lot of clones of these made. You can see on the heel right there it says P Beretta. You can also see over here on the side of the receiver, it shows those markings that show that it is actually a Beretta rifle. We can also zoom in here. It says BM59 on this part piece right here, which is kind of interesting. And then over here you see it says PB BM59. That's because these BM62s came after the BM59s and they used a lot of BM59 parts. I don't know if that's going to show up very well in the video there with that marking. But anyway, I digress. The reason why this is so cool is because Beretta made the M14 before the US made the M14, and they did it with M1 Garand receivers and M1 Garand parts. The goal was to make a box-fed, a magazine-fed, fully automatic rifle. And the M1 Garand action was so prolific that this is what they thought would be the best thing to do. Now, as we know, the US Army made the M14, which is iconic and fantastic, but you'll notice there's quite a number of differences. While the M14 receiver is very similar to an M1 Garand receiver, it's not an M1 Garand receiver. This is actually an M1 Garand receiver, and what's really cool is, if we zoom in here, you can see where they actually welded these stripper clip guides. Now the Beretta ones, the real Beretta ones, which this is a real Beretta, you can definitely see how nice those welds are to put the stripper clip guide here. I'll show it over here as well. You can see those welds, where they actually welded these stripper clip guides directly to the M1 Garand receivers. Now, there are clones of these floating around, primarily Chinese clones. I believe they use cast receivers instead of M1 Garand receivers. How to identify a Chinese clone, which I've come to learn, is your heel, where it says P Beretta right there. Not going to say anything. It's actually going to be stripped. So there shouldn't be anything on your heel if it's a Chinese clone. And there is going to be some Chinese writing or some import markings on the side here as well. So there is going to be markings on here regardless for these. But this is the BM62 version, not the 59. The 59 is becoming more well known because the 59 was the full automatic, kind of like a BAR slash M14 of the time frame. And the 59 had a grenade launcher with a grenade launch sights. It had a bipod that dropped down, a longer barrel, and you can see a cut in the wood where there was a, that was where the full auto was, instead of the cut being over here, as you can see here with the M14 stock, where there's that cut for the giggle switch. So some differences there, but this is really cool because Beretta actually made a fully automatic M1 Garand, and they made a fully automatic battle rifle, and they made it out of an M1 Garand receiver, which the United States failed to do, which was very interesting. They made their own, the M14. The M14 was very successful. Beretta BM59 has kind of gone by the wayside, but it's a very cool piece. You can also see the stock differences here too, how they have handguard grooves cut into it. So this is something, a very rare piece to show you, and I wanted to show this off. This one's actually unfired, which is very fantastic. It's been in the country for, what, 30, 40 years, and it's unfired. That's a pretty steep feat. You'll also see on these 62s, you'll notice that they have these rubber butt pads instead of these typical metal assists for full auto, which the M14 is famous for. This version, the 62, was designed to be more of a compact rifle versus the longer infantry weapon that the 59 was. Preferably, potentially, and again, you can correct me in the comments, my understanding is potentially more of a paratrooper version because it's so much shorter than the 59. This is more of a compact rifle. It almost resembles a tanker M1 Garand, if you're familiar with that. So that's kind of cool, a little bit different. And then the other thing to know about this too is, well, you can actually see here, I was going to put that down, but you might as well see this right here. This is the floor plate of an M1 Garand. They actually cut out the floor plate to stick these magazines in. And these magazines are not M14 mags. These are actually proprietary Beretta BM59 mags that go across with the BM62 because it's the BM series. But you have the floor plate cut out right here, which allows you to insert your mag. But the release is very similar. They are rocking magazines. So the magazines rock in. You can see the front lip right there, kind of like an AK, kind of like the M14. The Beretta BM62 and BM59 magazines are very different from the M14 magazines. They do have the rocker that you see here, similar. And actually, I'll put this down. I want to show you what the internal mag well looks like, because it is so very different. But here I have a M14 mag, and here I have a Beretta BM59 and 62 mag. You'll notice they do look very similar. They both hold the same round capacity, and you'll notice what is different though is here is the little input hole for it to click into in the M14. But you'll notice there's a rocker on the BM59. You'll also notice you have support crimping and crimping here, but you'll notice how it flares outward potentially. Maybe you'll notice, hopefully the camera quality is able to pull it up. You'll see that flares out here, and then there's crimping and crimping. Then you have a little support assist right here for locking in. Suppose you have a rear locking piece here, and it also bulges out. It's a little bit different. In the M14 mag, you'll notice it's squared off, and you'll notice it does have a rear locking lug there for where it locks up. Looking internally as well, you'll see this has a guide right here. On the M14 mag, you don't have that guide. It's kind of cool, kind of different. Interesting to see how two countries did the same thing with a similar base idea, and they came out very differently. Now, these proprietary mags cost usually about like $65 or so, but like I said, it is very interesting to see how the two countries with the same idea came out with very different outcomes. Now, if we transition over here, hopefully to see this, you'll notice the interior where, like I said, they cut out the M1 Garand floor plate. This would have ordinarily held the end blocks and the internals there, but as you'll see, they cut that out and they hollowed it out. And you can see up here where it's open, and that is where the magazine clicks in up there. Very cool. Here, let me see if I can rotate that a little bit. Help the camera pick it up. A little different. You can see the metal support etched into the wood. Like I said, these are modified M1 Garands. Now, taking from here, let's walk this right over to this M1A, just to take a look inside. You'll notice with the M1A, they also did a paddle, right, which is similar to the AK style, because with the rocker mags that rock in, you need a paddle to be able to take it off. You don't have a button. But you'll notice they did around the magwell metal support. You'll notice it's not cut forward and edged inward like the other one was, because it is not an M1 Garand floor plate. It's an actual dedicated M14 floor plate and M14 stock set. So that's very cool. You are free to correct anything I said in the comments. I'm just trying to show a little quick overview with the time that I have allotted. I do appreciate you watching. It's just really cool to see how two countries took two concepts. Well, it took one concept and did something so drastically different, but also at the same time so similar. You can also even see here, which the scope is blocking, real quickly before we sign off. You'll see how the scope is blocking maybe your view, but you'll see how the receiver on the M14 rocks right into their stripper clip guide, right? It's designed for the stripper clip guide because this is a magazine-fed gun, while the M1 Garand was a M-block fed, internal M-block gun. So you can see how they rocked the receiver is literally designed to take that. Meanwhile here, they just welded it on. But with Beretta ones, you can definitely see the quality because you don't see those welds very well at all. Those welds are done really well. Now the Chinese ones, you can definitely see the welds. They just tack weld that on. But the original Berettas are very cool. And in the US, they're very rare. They only imported a small number of them. The Beretta BM59s themselves are even rarer. But it's very cool, very interesting. I'm happy I was able to bring this to you guys today. Thank you for watching. If you learned something, I'm very happy. If you want to correct me on anything I said, please put it in the comments. I would love to learn more. I'd also love to impart knowledge on other people. So I'd love to be able to share that, and part of that is building a community where people, if I do say something that's incorrect, are able to correct that and be able to help other people learn as well. Also, click subscribe and like the video. That way you can see more content, because I'm going to try to bring you more cool stuff just like this moving forward. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Be safe.